Have you ever heard the old saying that it's incredibly dangerous to wake a sleepwalker? It's one of those myths that seems to have been around forever. Maybe you've seen it played out in movies or on TV, someone stumbling around the house in the dead of night, eyes wide open but clearly not really awake, their movements a bit clumsy and disoriented. And you always see everyone whispering anxiously, "Shh, don't wake them, it's too dangerous," as if waking them would unleash some kind of terrible consequence. But is that actually true? Or is it just another one of those old wives' tales? Let's break it down and find out what the real story is behind sleepwalking and the supposed dangers of waking someone who's in that state. First things first, what exactly is sleepwalking? What's going on in the brain when someone starts wandering around while they're supposed to be asleep? It's a fascinating phenomenon called somnambulism, and it typically happens during the deep, non-rapid eye movement, NREM, stages of sleep. That's when our brains are in their deepest state of rest. During these episodes, people might engage in a variety of activities. They might walk around, mumble or talk, sleep talking, or even do more complex things like eating a snack, all while completely unconscious and unaware of their actions. It sounds like a scene straight out of a horror movie, with the eerie and unpredictable nature of the sleepwalking behavior. But the reality is that it's actually pretty common, especially in children. Many kids experience sleepwalking at some point and often grow out of it as they get older. So here's the big question that we're all wondering about. Is it genuinely dangerous to wake up a sleepwalker? Is there a real risk involved, or is it just an exaggerated myth? Well, the good news is, not really. There's absolutely no scientific evidence to suggest that simply waking a sleepwalker will cause them any physical harm. You're not going to give them a heart attack or cause any lasting damage. The real risk isn't the act of waking them itself, but rather how you wake them, and what might happen in the moments immediately after they're roused from their sleepwalking state. If you suddenly shake them awake or start shouting at them, you could startle them so badly that they react defensively. They might flail their arms around, try to push you away, or even become verbally or physically aggressive out of pure confusion and fear. Just imagine waking up suddenly in a completely unfamiliar place with no memory of how you got there. It would be incredibly disorienting and frightening. That sudden shock can trigger a range of negative emotions, including intense confusion, overwhelming fear, and in some cases even a defensive or violent reaction as they try to understand what's happening. But the truth is, while startling someone awake can be unpleasant, the bigger danger is actually to the sleepwalker themselves while they're in that sleepwalking state. While they're sleepwalking, their awareness of their surroundings is severely limited. They're essentially navigating the world on autopilot with very little conscious control. That means they could easily trip and fall down the stairs, especially if the lighting is poor. They might wander outside and walk into oncoming traffic, completely oblivious to the danger, or they could accidentally hurt themselves on household objects like sharp knives or dangerous tools, without even realizing what they're doing. So in most cases, the best approach is to gently guide them back to bed, if you can do so without startling them or causing them to become agitated. Speak to them in a soft, reassuring voice and maybe gently touch their arm or shoulder to get their attention without causing a sudden shock. The key is to calmly and quietly steer them away from any potential hazards like stairs, sharp objects, or open doors. However, if you absolutely need to wake them, for example, if they're about to walk out the front door and into the night, then you should prepare yourself for a potentially disoriented reaction. Just be ready for them to be confused, frightened, and possibly even a little combative as they try to make sense of what's happening. Stay calm yourself, explain to them in simple terms what happened and where they are, and help them get settled back into bed as comfortably as possible. And if you or someone in your family experiences sleepwalking frequently, it might be a good idea to check in with a doctor or sleep specialist to rule out any underlying medical conditions. In many cases, sleepwalking is completely harmless and doesn't require any treatment. But in some rare cases, it can be a symptom of underlying stress, a sleep disorder like sleep apnea, or even a sign of other underlying health issues that need to be addressed. So, next time you happen to spot a sleepwalker, remember to stay calm and assess the situation. It's not dangerous to wake them, but it's generally better to gently guide them to safety and back to bed if possible, rather than startling them awake. And now you know the real story. Hollywood got this one just a little bit wrong, as they often do when it comes to the complexities of sleep and the human brain. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new and found this explainer helpful, Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating facts and myth-busting videos like this one.